Okay. I have commitment issues. I can't stay in one place for too long.
Okay. By the way, fidget spinner helps tremendously. I usually use it when I live stream because if not, like my camera's gonna be doing this the whole time because I bounce around. So like this helps me like quit. I just keep clicking this. And the funny thing is like because the gain is so good on my the gain control is so good on my mic,
Mhm.
I can click this thing all day and most of the time you can't hear it. So that's a fun fact. That's a tip for all of you people that shut up, Dan. All of you people that do that live stream. If you have ADD, just get a fidget, get a little fidget thingy, and fidget with it, and it'll help you not shake and fiddle around.
I
Because I
use
if I
fidget
didn't
rings.
Mhm.
if I didn't like shake my leg, I would like be swirling around like a little kid. So yeah, fidget spinner
Yeah.
keeps me still. Anywho,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that's true
Um,
from onion muffins. Smoking kills a lot of people, and yeah, it's still legal. And I mean, I can go into the whole tobacco lobbying and how it's kind of a part of American culture now to the point of I don't really think there's any turning back. I don't think we can ever fully delegalize um, smoking. You know what I mean? Or
But think
tobacco
about it
products.
though. You make things illegal and people want it more. Think about the prohibition.
That is true.
They will find a way.
Mm-hmm.
yes, this is true.
Well, because then you could get it from the cotton candy USB stick instead. Like there's always like a way to get like your nicotine.
Here's the thing. Why don't we keep smoking legal? We just make them stop using nicotine because
Is
that's the
it a
harmful
product?
substance.
Is it a
It's not
chemical
as
that's
much
added
the
to
nicotine.
tobacco?
It's the chemicals they use that cause the biggest problems, not the nicotine itself. It's the
Mm-hmm.
chemicals. Because they add so much chemicals, including rat poisoning, to the cigarettes
Yes.
that makes it addictive.
You're smoking rat shit.
I
I'm
mean,
gonna
yeah,
call
but
you
we
rat
also
Correct.
shit
eat
smoker
rat
from
shit.
now.
To be real,
I'm
we
Mm-hmm.
literally
eat rat shit. Let's
Oh,
don't play this game.
speaking of
okay. So you
eating
know how
unhealthy things,
you have like 17 nicknames with me. You now have 18 because one of them is now rat shit smoker.
the while we were speaking about like eating rat shit and like other things that are bad in the in our food, did you see
Well, eating rat shit.
well eating rat shit? Did you see this there was this new video that came out from a couple of whistleblowers and don't take what I say with a grain of salt and research it yourself, everybody who's watching. I saw this on a video online, so I was just take it with a grain of salt. But there were some workers from a meatpacking plant who said that their employers wanting them to not waste time, instead of fully taking all of the meat products out of packaging, they're just throwing in the package itself to where it gets ground up in the machines. So there is now a very large amount of plastic and other trash and debris inside of meats that you can be buying, which is it was the video I saw, it was because it was an argument for plant-based meat products. People saying that doesn't happen where it's made, but I still find that absolutely alarming that there's plastic and other microplastics ground up into our food supply. Um, I just taught my router a lesson. I'm
Yo,
not able
your
to be heard.
router
Can you
and
see me,
everything said retaliation.
bro?
Bro,
I gotta
it
get
don't like you today.
Yeah, you're a little crackly.
yeah. It's a
So
USB
the sad
mic.
thing is, our FDA, which is another corrupt organization, Russell
Mm-hmm.
Brand actually did a video on that broke it down pretty well about how the FDA ended up being so corrupt. Um, Basically, lobbyist and funding. The FDA has a revolving door of lobbyists. The people who are on the FDA, when they retire, they become lobbyists. And who do they lobby to? They lobby to the FDA, which means they know the rules, they know how it goes. Also, the funding for the FDA is now essentially just like with the pharmaceutical companies. It is for It is by the very people that they are supposedly, they're supposedly overseeing. So our system is completely broken. The FDA, like, there's so many, like, if I were to go in depth and to do like an in-depth study on anybody, I would start with the FDA and then go to the pharmaceutical companies, because that's why a lot of people don't trust, like, specifically talking about the vaccine. The reason why a lot of people don't
Mm-hmm.
trust the vaccine is because people are like, oh, the vaccine is now FDA approved. That means nothing to a lot of people, because they understand that the FDA itself is corrupt. So what does that even mean?
Oh yeah.
Well, congratulations, a
How
corrupt
many commercials
organization
do you
said it
see late at
needed.
night?
Hmm?
Yeah, like how many commercials do you see late at nights? The big threatening deep music, and it's, oh, if you or a loved one try this drug that was approved by the FDA, you're entitled. How long until that
Exactly.
happens with this new COVID vaccine? How long until late stage trial? You know what I mean? Like, this is what people are nervous about.
Well, that's not going to happen because, and here's another reason why people don't like it, is because you're not allowed to sue if you have side effects.
Mm-hmm.
Because that legislation went through first. Is that your dog? Or is that you? That's your dog. Okay. You're not allowed to sue if there are side effects. And they put that through before the vaccines even came out, to make sure, like, the companies were safe. And I'm like, see, it makes the company safe, but it makes me feel less safe. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's why a lot of people have hesitancy when it comes to that. So I get it. But it's not just like with the vaccine, but like what you were talking about with the meat. The US, the food in the United States, it's not really food. It's more like food like products. In other countries, they actually have
Mm-hmm.
food. Their regulations, they wouldn't allow, like, if you were to look at the food labels for, say, Quaker Oats in the US versus Quaker Oats in the UK. In the UK, it's like 6 things on the ingredient list. In the US, it's a bunch of chemicals you can't even pronounce. And the reason why is because
Dramatically
the FDA
different.
is like, oh, as long as it's just a minuscule amount, then it's fine. It
Mm-hmm.
won't harm you. But the problem is that minuscule amount is in literally everything you eat. So it's not minuscule anymore.
Yeah, it's to the point where it adds up over time to where you're getting the dosage over all that you eat.
Exactly. And that's part of the reason why we're not as healthy as other nations. We're not actually eating
Yes.
real food with real
Yes.
nutrients. Dan?
Dan, I
Yo,
thought
he
a ghost
hopped
was
in and
behind me when you were talking, man. I got
I
so
know.
spooked because I got the headphones with like active noise canceling, so like I can still hear stuff. And like as soon as I almost
I hope I scared you. I hope I scared you. I do. Listen, I'm
The
still
ghost
very
of
sick.
Dan has joined us, everyone.
I'm still very sick. I don't have much of a voice, but I'm telling you, there's so much to be said about this. It drives me insane. So, yes, that's all. But the same damn companies will actually make different versions of said product for every country. But most of the countries overseas are all made the same way because they have different standards, whereas we are regulated more so by magically the FDA and others, and they basically literally put poison in our product and leave it clean overseas. It's a whole different world, and it's so damn deep. It's so damn evil,
mm-hmm.
and it's allowed to go on and on and on, and nobody checks it. Nobody checks it. Just like somebody said before with the vaccines. Yes, there's multiple vaccines worldwide. Do you know why are we only offered the 3? There's reasons for that. North America, reasons for that. Now Mexico is limiting. They want to actually get rid of these vaccines and get the vaccines that are being used elsewhere. And I'm no proponent of these things, but still, they're trying specifically to target certain regions. And all I'm going to say is, with the spirit of veritas and the spirit of liberty, the nation states that are more prone to have people being active and louder, or have liberty, if you will, or the spirit of fight, are magically getting the worst lockdowns, the worst everything. what we could call is the abusive police state, military state in Australia and New Zealand, things like this being done
Australia
deliberately.
is bad.
They're doing it deliberately. And those cops, I'm sorry, the people, I love seeing them in the streets. They need to put those damn cops down because they are stormtroopers at this point, and they are effectively trying to go after the countries around the world that are most prone to rise up. You get the worst of the vaccines, you get the worst of the mandates, the worst of the lockdowns, the worst of the anything and everything, and it's done deliberately. It is done deliberately, and people need to start realizing that when we talk about these things, there's bigger issues at play. It's so much bigger than what any of us are even addressing. You guys are doing great, but there's so much more that goes into it. And if I had my voice, I would go into my rant about how they want us to die. But damn it, I'm
Nice.
telling you, is this not the case at this point? They're doing it specifically. Philippines, Australia, the United Kingdom, France, and I've crapped on France many a times, but let's face it, France was our first ally in the revolution. Then when they needed our help 4 years later, no, we can't help you. We're trade partners with Great Britain. But all these countries specifically being targeted the way that they are, there's reasons for it. There's reasons behind everything. And now, and I'm going to shut the hell up. Look at this. Look at when you have the infamous devil man, George Soros, that everybody talks about, which I've spoken about. But George Soros himself attacking China and China attacking Soros and attacking Klaus Schwab and the Great Reset. Listen, China has its problems. China is by far, what they do is atrocious, but it goes to show you that even China isn't in line with their vision of what the Great Reset New World Order is supposed to be. So there's a power struggle at the top. Very interesting when you pay attention to the world politics and what's happening and what's at play here. And look at the military issues they're having right now that nobody's talking about between Australia and China. Nobody talks about it. What's going on there? Because China sees Australia as a fallen state at this point. And there's so many. All right, listen, I'm going to shut up. If I have a voice, I'm going to do my damn show on Thursday finally after about a month, okay? Because there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about. And I'm not very big on hospitals right now. That's all I'm going to say. But keep kicking ass. Great show. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you very much for stopping by, Dan, and giving us your talk there. We absolutely love Dan. Thank you. He's one of the founding members of VOP. Really appreciate you stopping by. Thank you for gracing your presence. Hopefully you can come by another time later on.
Yeah, get well.
Yeah, no, it's Dan. I couldn't have said it better myself with Dan.
Yeah, that's I was I think it was on TikTok. Yeah, it was on TikTok. Somebody was pointing out, they were like, hey, I went to another country. I think it was like Colombia or something. They were like, I went to a different country and I was there for 12 days and I ate tons and tons. God damn, Dan. I ate tons and tons of food and like lots of carbs. And she was just ready to have gained weight when she got back. When she got back home, she got on the scale. She didn't gain any weight. And she was like, as a matter of fact, she might have like lost a pound. And she was like, wait a minute. But I thought like carbs were evil and all this. And like, wait, how is it I can eat them over there? And, she enjoyed herself. She was able to eat whatever she wanted. And then she comes home, she's assuming that she had gained weight. She hadn't gained any weight. And then she realizes, wait, they have real food. Like, so, that makes a big difference. Like we talk about like the obesity epidemic. Well, when your food doesn't have nutrients, when your food is mainly chemicals, yeah, that could affect your body. Somebody else was pointing out that she is gluten intolerant in the United States. She went overseas and she ate some bread. She was like, she was waiting for a reaction. She never had a reaction. She's like, wait a minute, how come I don't have a reaction? And then she realized that she's not allergic to gluten. She's allergic to glyphosate, which is the chemical that we spray all of our crops with, all of our wheat crops with. And we have essentially destroyed our food by saturating the ground with these poisons, because they're literally toxins to try to keep insects out. And then that's not enough. We have to put that poison inside the seed. And we, for some reason, didn't think that that was going to affect our bodies at all. And again, well, it's just a minuscule amount. Except it's literally in everything we eat because all of our food is done like
Yeah.
this. And it's in the grains
Yeah, it's minuscule
that
if
the
I eat.
animals eat
Yeah.
that we eat. They eat that it's in their food. So it's in our food. It's in our food's food. So it's constantly like that. Talk about changing your DNA. That's gonna fuck with your DNA. And I think the reason why they don't care is because agriculture and pharmaceutical go hand in hand. You know, there's that saying, let thy food be thy medicine. Well, when your food is crap, you have to have medicine. Just saying. Rant over.
No, that's an excellent point and something I definitely agree with. When you have food that's as unhealthy, and we talked about this a couple of weeks ago on a former Political Zoo episode, we were discussing if whether we should go full universal healthcare or not. And part of the compromise to that, if we wanted to, was we would have to do a massive overhaul on our food and drugs, because a vast majority of the reason why people end up in the hospital is because of food allergens, obesity, heart attacks, things brought on by these chemicals we're eating all the time. To where like universal healthcare, like a big thing where people don't want to do it is, well, a lot of people don't take care of themselves. Well, people don't really have the option to take care of themselves when the food is like this.
Also,
You know
it
what I
comes
mean?
full
Like
circle because
food,
those
yeah.
toxins are also polluting the environment.
Exactly. Yeah, it goes full circle with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it hurts one animal, it'll hurt all the animals.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. It's definitely something that's like really, really tough to do, because then, you know, if you try to get up on the world stage and say something like that, you know, you'll get a couple feel good points. People will clap their hands and say nice job, but then you'll fade from your 15 minutes of fame. But at the same time, if you try to do anything that actually matters and like get in the government sphere and say, no, screw you, we're not doing that, then you're gonna have to deal with big food, big pharma coming at you. And that's when you'll have actual like
I don't even think that we should even like forget the government. They're not going to do anything because they're in the pockets of big corporations.
Yeah.
We need to attack the corporations themselves. We need to go after the corporations. Like if you're going to protest anywhere, go to Jeff Bezos's houses.
Then what good is that going to do? How can a person like you or me be able to make a difference? Like if we show up at someone's house and wave signs around and protest, one of the first rules of being an entrepreneur, of being a business owner, is you have to not care what other people think about you. Like listen to advice, obviously, but if you're making money doing the thing that you're doing and you get a bunch of people outside your house saying no, and it's not affecting your profit at any point, why would you even care? Like what is something that we could do? Like I understand protest. I'm all for freedom of protest, and protests in certain spheres do work. But like what would a person like me or you be able to do about that? Short of like violence.
For me personally, I think that the best thing is not a protest, it's a general strike. And that would force all of these organizations to yield. For example, if it's Amazon you want to protest, don't go after the people. Like a lot of people, especially on the left, want to say, stop using Amazon, stop using Amazon. It's becoming harder and harder to do that. If you don't have money and Amazon is the cheapest option, you're basically trying to tell poor people to pay more. Sometimes they don't have the luxury of doing that. But you let them get their orders in. What you do is you create mutual aid for all of the workers and you shut down the entire system, because if you don't have people showing up to work and you have orders coming in, he wants to you just let the orders come through, but then make it so that there's not a single worker there to fulfill those orders.
That's right.
Then he'll listen. And you can't do it for one day. You have to do it consistently. You have to do it continually until he's like, okay, I'm literally losing billions of dollars a day, or hundreds of millions of dollars a day. Whatever, get him to come back. Because, for example, going back to Bernie Sanders, he forced them to raise the minimum wage of his company to $15 an hour. So you can
Mhm.
force these corporations to do that. He didn't do it through legislation. He did it through direct action. And it's time for the people who know how to organize that to step up and set up systems of mutual aid so that people can go on strike and they can set up clear demands and say, like, no, you're going to pay us a living wage. We're going to be treated fairly, XYZ. And here's the thing, all you have to do is force two companies in all of the United States, force them to treat their workers properly, and all of the other industries will follow suit. Those two companies are Walmart and Amazon.
Mhm.
You force those two companies to pay a living wage and to treat their workers properly, all other industries are going to follow suit, because if not, they'll lose all of their employees to Amazon and Walmart. Those two companies are big enough that if they were to make that change and then they were to start hiring, everybody would leave. Nobody would work these menial jobs anymore, because they're like, wait, okay, so the state minimum wage is the national minimum wage, which is insanely low. It's less than $8. So I can continue this job where I'm making $8 an hour, or I can go work for Amazon making $30 an hour with paid overtime and XYZ and blah blah blah. You make those two companies change, they change the rest. They're going to change the course for everyone. So that's what I would do personally. Boss Hog says, unfortunately, you never be able to get most people to strike against a company. If it doesn't affect them, then they turn a blind eye. And that's why we're in this shitty ass situation in the first place. The more they divide us as people, the easier it is for them to continue using us for cheap labor that we pay back to them to survive. You are absolutely correct, which is why, like I said, you have to start with mutual aid. So you have to make it so that people can strike, and then you have to inform people. See, part of the problem is our media is so shitty that it's basically just propaganda for the big corporations. So people don't realize, they want you afraid of your neighbor and not fighting your boss. If people realize, hey, other nations get paid maternity and paternity leave, other nations
Mhm.
get paid vacation, and you don't have to have been at the company for 100 years to get a week. You can, like, all jobs, you get like so many weeks. I think a lot of countries, they give you like 3 to 4 weeks off.
I
If
was
they
gonna say, yeah,
can
they
do
usually
that,
give you that
and
much.
we're supposed to be the richest country, like, people have to understand, the propaganda right now is that Jeff Bezos earned his billions of dollars. That's, people actually believe that he actually earned it, when if you do the math, there's no physical way he could have possibly earned that money, because it's too much money for one person to be able to earn. If you were to break down his salary, it's like, if you were to work 40 hours a week, it would take you like 300 years to make his amount of money. It's not possible. He didn't earn it. He's stealing your labor. He's using your labor and he's making money off of it. He's stealing from you if you work from him. People have to understand that. Once you make them understand that, and they realize Jeff Bezos is not a god, he's not this magical person, he's not actually worth $1 billion. Your labor is worth $1 billion. Once you make people understand that, then they will actually strike. But again, you have to set up a system of mutual aid so that they can still pay their bills while they're not going to work.
So there's a lot to unpack. You went off for a while. So there's a bunch of points, a lot of
Right.
which I agree with, and I definitely think that the workers treated at Amazon are treated awfully. I worked at Amazon for a brief stint of time at the beginning of COVID. I needed to get a job. I needed to help my family, so I went out and got a job, and it was a really bad experience. I felt like I was working harder than a lot of the people. I worked in the warehouse with the trucks. I was stacking the boxes. I was playing internet Tetris all night, just stacking everything up, sending the trucks out. And I know people that would go to really slow trucks and they would stack boxes into the shape of chairs and then sit down and do nothing all shift. Whereas I ran around and I made sure every truck got out. And like I was essentially doing like supervisor work without any kind of pay. And the supervisors would come up to me and they were like, "Hey, we noticed you, whatever, good job." And I asked, like, is there anything, like, am I going to get like a title or anything? Because at Amazon, if you are an unnamed grunt, you're not treated well. If you have a title, then that's when like good things start to happen. So I asked, like, is there anything? And like, oh, maybe in a couple months after COVID. And then that's when I knew, oh, we just really like that you're working hard. So I ended up leaving over something. I left because they would tell us all the time, if you don't feel well, stay home. So I didn't feel well and I stayed home and I got disciplinary point. So I said, you know what, screw you guys, I'm out of here. I do agree with that. Like, yeah, it is too much money that Jeff Bezos has. I feel like he didn't. I don't know. I feel like saying like he didn't earn, like he did earn a lot of it, and I respect him for his hustle. Because remember, there was a time in his life he was like selling books out of his garage. It started from a really small area and went up, and he had the know-how and the ability to understand it. And like some work is more important than other work. Some work is more expensive than other work. I'm not saying he's worth like $1 trillion or whatever. I'm not going to be deep throwing Bezos, but I do want to give credit to where credit is due, to where like that takes a lot of know-how, that takes guts, because all that can fall on your face. That could like straight up hit you in the face. Freaking how many failed businesses? Remember Quibi?
Yeah.
No, exactly. When you have like these businesses that go out and they try, and they like, people can fail spectacularly. So like, and
I'm
I
not
do agree,
saying
but
he's
like,
not
yeah, a
worth
nation.
any money. I'm saying he's not worth $1 billion. You cannot earn $1 billion. You steal $1 billion. He's not worth a full
I
$1 billion.
mean,
I'm not saying he's not worth enough money to be, say, a multimillionaire, but a billionaire on his way to being a trillionaire, no.
well, if you have a business that's as used as Amazon, and something to where it's as like big as Amazon, I feel like if we enacted the 1000% rule, I feel like he would still be on his way there, a lot slower, mind you. But I do feel like he would still be there because it's a very well used service. It has millions of products on it. The way that it works is that so Amazon's smart in this way where they don't make money off of the transaction itself. Say you want to sell your products on Amazon, say like, Jackie sweaters. You make sweaters and everyone loves them, and you put them on Amazon to be able to be used in their warehouses. You have to pay a fee to Amazon to stock those sweaters in their warehouses. So that way, even if, say, like there's a warehouse fire or an employee steals them, you are the one who's on the hook for that, not Amazon, right? So it's like smart little money saving tips like that are what brings it to where, like, and I'm not saying that the laborers aren't treated where they should be, and I feel like they should be treated a lot better. But like, I feel like $1 billion is possible when you have something like the internet that's able to completely like skyrocket industries, especially with, how with our pandemic and how no one could leave anywhere. We couldn't go out to our local stores, and and that to me was, I hated how all the mom and pop shops had to go out, but all these big corporations could stay around because the government didn't want to help any of the little guy. And we had the biggest
Because
wealth transfer in the United States histories.
That money went straight to people like Bezos. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you know how much Jeff Bezos makes?
I know he makes a lot. I know he's on his way to being a trillionaire.
So according to this article on Yahoo, taking into account his rising net worth over the past few years, he makes about $8.99 billion per month, $2.25 billion per week, or $321 million per day, according to Visica.com. If you want to know how much he makes per second, he makes $3,715 per second. Per second. Do you think he's
that
worth
money,
that?
though, it's a lot of money, but that money's not like given directly to him, though. That's based on net worth. That's based on stocks. That's based on a lot of other things.
Exactly.
Now,
and that money
listen, like,
could be that a large portion of that money should be paid directly to the people like you, who instead of being paid $15 an hour, $7 an hour, you could actually be afforded to pay $40 an hour. And then with $40 an hour, you could actually afford your own apartment. You could actually afford to possibly get a house.
I was gonna say
You could actually
because
afford
that's
as
around.
you're not even a millennial. What are you? You're Gen Z, right?
I'm this weird. So I'm like in between millennial and Gen Z because I was born in '97.
Oh, for
So
fuck's sake.
like it's that weird. It's that like
I
really
think
weird
I'm
in
old.
between year. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
so anywho, so basically you're a kid. If you want to be able to have a kid, if they could shut up, Dan. If you want to be able to have a kid, you could if you were paid a decent wage. If you were paid a wage that kept up with the amount of money that your labor is creating. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve anything. I'm not even
Mhm.
saying he doesn't deserve multi-millions. But if you were to take that example, like what we were talking about, with capping
Mhm.
the rate at 1,000%, you would be that same job that you did. You would have been making $40-$50 an hour because that's how much money is coming in, and that your labor is producing that money. And that's what I'm saying.
I
I'm
mean,
saying that he's
yeah.
stealing from your labor. I'm not saying he's not worth a multi-million dollars. Like, I'm not against millionaires or multimillionaires. I'm against billionaires because billionaires cannot get that wealthy without stealing from someone's labor.
In most cases, yeah, like I definitely agree with you. And like the reason I say most cases is because people with cryptos and other investment stuff and like stuff like that, people are able to accumulate billions in all kinds of weird ways now. But like, yeah, in the general sentiment of being in charge of a business and like doing that, I do like understand where you're coming from, and I do like agree with you. It's like I don't know, it's weird because like I think about it from a business perspective because I have a lot of people that I talk to that are very business savvy. So like it's weird for me to like say like I do totally agree that people need to be treated better in the workplace and that these manual laborers should be paid a lot more. And I was reading some article the other day and someone was saying, remember in the 80s where your dad could be a VCR technician and be able to afford a house with 2 cars and 2 weeks vacation a year. And now it's like that, we have to be with the job 100 years before we like a week off if we really want one.
I'm going to be honest. I have no idea what you just said because you like jumbled, and it was like I heard you say something about a VCR technician, and then it was like, and I have no idea what you said. I'm sorry.
It's
Sorry,
okay.
your
My
is
internet
you.
and it's okay. I'm in a new location. I usually do this out of my bedroom. I went into this new area to go kind of like a little bit, I have a little more freedom. I'm going to be decorating these walls. I'm going to repaint the chalkboard for next week. But yeah, the big caveat's the internet. I'm going to have to work on that this weekend as well.
Okay, so
Did you hear that at least, or am I just
I heard
garbled?
that. So I was gonna say, can you just re-say what you said a minute ago? Because I
So I
didn't
was
understand.
gonna say that I have a lot of friends in the business sphere, and I sort of understand how it works. So I do understand that like the whole point of like the American dream and capitalism is to be able to go out, grind, and get that bag. So you don't want to over punish people for succeeding, but at the same time, though, people are not treated as well. I said, remember in like the 80s, your dad could be a VCR technician at a Radio Shack and make enough money to afford a like 2-bedroom house with 2 cars and a 2-week vacation. You know what I mean?
Your internet does not want
So
us to
like,
hear this clearly.
bro,
As soon as you start going into
let me
it,
talk.
started crackling again. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I thought you were really disappointed in what I said for a second. I was
No,
like,
I
oh,
was
am I
like,
gonna get
no,
like
not
smacked on my
again.
own show?
Internet. It's your internet. I'm sorry.
This is awful.
Okay, that I heard clear. That came
Yeah, I'm
clear
sure you
as
did. That was awful, is what you're able to hear.
Okay, start with the internet with your dad being a technician part.
So
For some reason you get to
in
that and then it's just nothing. So,
It doesn't like the reference to predated technology. It hates its in-laws and grandparents, so it doesn't. It hates it. It doesn't want to be reminded. So I was saying that in the 80s, people could be VCR technicians and they could afford
huh?
a 2-bedroom
Mhm.
house
Yes.
as well as 2 cars
Oh, it's the cars. You cut out on the
and
cars, but I heard it.
and 2-week vacation.
Yes. Yes.
So the value of work has gone down.
It took a minute, but it got it out.
I'm sorry. It's
Goodness,
just funny
bro.
because it's
No,
like
it's funny on
my.
my. It's gonna be funny tomorrow. It's not funny right now.
Your pausing was perfect to get you through it because every time you paused, your screen froze. So, like, if you had kept talking, you would have cut out.
That's great.
That's
I
what
played
was so
the
funny.
system.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna let you guys go because I am starving. Haven't eaten all day, so
Already.
I really enjoyed this chitty chat. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. It was a pleasure.
No problem. I will see you guys later.
See you later. Have a great night.
Ah, shit, wrong thing. Damn.
Zooms in real big on her later. Oh, shit.
Hold on, my screen froze again. I'm gonna have to refresh the page. Give me 1 second.
Wow.